All right, everyone. Hey there. Welcome to the next session on weekly VIP live calls. And in this part, we are going to talk about an interesting topic, which is a slider revolution. So, first of all, why this is important. If you want to have a successful website, on different platforms, mostly we talk about WordPress because you have more control over it. But some of you, I know that you use, for example, Shopify or other platforms. But here today we are going to talk about slider revolution, which you can use it with WordPress. Now the thing here is that why this is so important. If you pay attention to most of the successful websites out there which they are selling products online, most of them they use some slider at the top of their homepage to show their top products at the time, or if they have new offers or something like that. So if you know how to create a good slider, a good looking slider that is working fine without any problems, usually if you use other plugins or even this one, if you don't know how to use it, you may face some challenges along the way. So together we are going to talk about slider revolution, and the main reason that I wanted to talk about this topic here in this session is because a couple of months back the slider revolution got updated to the newer version, and they completely changed the way it looked. Okay, everything, the way that you wanted to create a new slider, edit the slider, add images, content to it, animations, everything, they completely changed everything there. So I decided to put this topic here, so we learn how you can create good sliders with the new interface of a slider revolution. And let me show you what we are going to talk about here. So, all right. Today we are going to talk about how we can create in a slider something look like these. I just created this sample about 20-30 minutes ago. It took me in general 20 minutes. So it's pretty simple, very easy, and we are just going to take a look how you can create the slider. This is the new look of a slider revolution, how you can use this platform right now and create impressive slides. So before we begin, if you have any question regarding marketing, business, or especially slider revolution, write it down for me, and in a moment we will begin this topic, right? So I'm gonna take a look, I'm gonna wait for a couple of seconds to receive your questions, and then we will begin. You can ask your questions both from YouTube or my website at pouya.com/live, right? Okay, today we have a lot of people watching. Thank you for joining this call. I hope you enjoy it and find it useful for your projects. Okay, along the way, I'm gonna take a look at the questions. At the moment, we don't have any questions. So, by the way, if there is any problem with my voice or the video, just let me know in the comments so we can fix it. Let's come back here. All right. So, I'm gonna remove everything completely and start from scratch, okay? So let's start. This is the slider that I have just created. I'm thinking maybe it's better to go for a new one, or let's remove everything, okay? So all the elements that I've put here, I'm gonna remove them. And where were we? Layout. Okay, here it is. Background. Okay, and default it is here. This one I'm gonna delete. Yes, delete the slide. And I'm gonna save it. So we start completely from scratch. Now if I refresh this page, everything should be gone. So we have nothing here. And well, let me refresh this page. So I have put this, right now I'm using Elementor plugin. First of all, before we begin, let me tell you that this is the Slider Revolution, their page. You can get it from different platforms. Let me search here, for example, Slider Revolution. Okay, so I got it from here, Code Canyon. You can come here, you can also, if you are using some of the WordPress themes that I have suggested before in my courses, they include this plugin, so you don't need to even buy it. Anyway, you can get it from here, and the way you use it, this is a Elementor page. So I'm going to create a new container, and on elements, I'm going to just write down slider. And the Slider Revolution, as you can see it here, it will appear. So I'm gonna put it here, and then I have to select which slider I want to use here. So I'm gonna select this one, which we are going to work on right now. And to understand how it looks, I'm just gonna use a background, a color, to understand where is my slider exactly on my page. So I'm gonna save it. I just selected the red color, and here we are on Elementor. I'm gonna update this one as well, and refresh it. So let's come to our main page and refresh this one as well to see where exactly our slider is. Sometimes it's not fit. You see there is a small space here. Now you can fix these problems with different solutions. I'm just gonna select this container. Right. I'm just gonna select the container, and on the margin I'm gonna decrease it until it fits my header. Okay. All right. Think here 75 is -75 is okay. So if I update it and come back and refresh it here, right? So now the location of our slider right now, it's perfect. All we have to do is to create it. So let's come back here. Well, in general, let me explain what are these new elements that you can see here. Well, some of them are obvious, but anyway, I'm gonna mention it. On the slides here at the top left side, we have the general layers and the slides that we have. Right now, we have only one slider. For example, I can click on add a new slide, and right now we have two slides, and this one I'm gonna select another color, for example, yellow, right? And if I save it, come here and refresh, now we have two slides here, red and yellow. Okay, so the slides are here. If you want to copy it, you create a slide with a lot of elements, title, buttons, product, image. It is perfect. You want to copy it and edit the next slide from the version that you already created. You come here and click on copy. We have remove and also settings. So I'm going to remove the second one. Okay, what happened? Yes, delete the slide. So here on the next one, we have the layers. We have text, image, button, shape, video, audio, and so on. Okay, so any element that you want to add to your slide exists here. You can add it here. And also one thing, when you hover your mouse on each of them, some of them you see for video it opens another option to add different kind of videos, for text as well, for image as well. All right, in a moment we will get to these things. Just a second, let me grab a water. Sorry. All right. So the next part, when this is somehow a mini setting for your elements. If you want to remove them, if you want to copy them, if you want to like them, it's here. For example, if I add a text, this is my text here, and it will tell me the name of this layer. I can rename it, I can duplicate it, I can remove it, I can lock it, so when I want to move things, I cannot move this layer. It is here. Your layers, all of your elements also appear on the bottom of the screen here. I can unlock it again and remove it, right? Also, if you have different layers, if you want to bring one of them to the top, you can use these arrows to bring one of them to the top. We will practice in a moment. Here you have the way to select your elements. You want to drag and select a couple of elements or single select. As you can see, you have your undo, whatever you do. If you make mistakes, you can go back or redo. And then we have the way it looks for on desktop, notebook, tablet, and mobile. You can change the size and see how it will look here, and help and so on. And on the right side we have the main toolbar. So all of the elements that lets you control and create these sliders exist here. All of the settings. The first one is a general setting for the slider. The second one is for navigation, as you can see the title. For example, here, as you can see under this slider, we have a progress bar. Okay, it will load. It will show the user how long it will take to load the next slide. Okay, if I turn it off, it will be gone. Okay, so everything here, arrows are here. If I turn it off, it will be gone. So the next one is about the slide itself. Okay, the background, the thumbnail, the animation, how long it will take, the progress, and so on. We will take a look at these elements in a moment. Okay, then we have layers. Now this is the part, all the settings for each layer, for each element exist here. If you have a text, for example, you have a text, you want to change the content, my title, for example, it's here. You want to change the style, you want to change the color, for example, it's here, right? You want to add a background to it, maybe purple, it's here, right? So on the last one, it is all the options for each element. Now, till now, if you have any question, write it down for me. And if not, in a moment, we are going to take a look at, we are going to start creating our slider and adding elements, playing with them, and see how we can create the examples that I just showed you, right? So let me quickly check here to see if we have any new questions. And if not, continue with the slider revolution. One thing is that try to take part in the question, ask any question that comes to your mind. The more, if you make yourself active on these live calls, well, you will learn more, okay? If I sit here and speak all the time, after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you will get bored, all right? So, nothing here. Let's continue with creating our slides. So let's start from the general setting. Now, on the first one, this is a title, the title of your slider, right? It's when we came here, when we selected, let me show you again. Search for slider revolution. Now if I want to select the slider, they have name. For example, here the name is a slider 2. Okay, you can change this name from here, right? Our test slides, for example. You can change it here. This is a shortcode. You don't need to be worried about the shortcode here. The next one is the layout. Now on layout, these are the sizes that it's very important, especially if you want to create successful slides. It should be responsive on all different platforms on mobile, because, well, some of the users use mobile, some of them use tablets, some of them use PC and notebooks. So it is very important to make it responsive. Here you can select the sizes. Right now, for example, our height is 400. I can select 300, or for example 800, or I can ignore this and go for full screen. For example, let me put it back on 400, save it and go for full screen. And let's refresh our page after saving and see how does it look. You see, right now it is full screen. Okay, well, it will add the you see, this is the bottom of the slider, and there are some space to go up. It's because of our header. Anyway, if you want to change the size, you should start here. Let me change this one so it starts fitting it again. So 400. First, let's create our slide, then we will come back here and create the responsive version for notebook, tablet and mobile. The next is about content. You don't need to take, you don't need to pay attention here. It's not very important. You can use it on different situations, but in general, you don't need it. The rest, what do we have here? You don't need this one. Some of the settings about the slider itself exists here, so you can go through them. What will happen on the scroll. I don't want to get you confused, so I'm not gonna talk about all of these things. For example, this one can be interesting. This is the loading icon, that when your slider is coming, let me refresh this page, you will see it here. When it is loading the slider, it will show this icon, then it will load. You see, it's here. So you can change the color and you can change the icon itself as well. Let's continue. These are the add-ons. We don't need them. The rest we don't need them, right? So all you need to take care of here is the title, the layout, and if you want to change this, is the spinner. Now let's change the background, right? Let's come to the slides option, and here we have background. Now before we selected color, you can select an image. You can upload the image from your hard drive. You can use an image online on some website. You can use transparent, YouTube video, Vimeo video, and so on, right? So let's use an external image. So as you can see, this image appeared here, but how you can bring it. So I went on unsplash.com, as you can see here, and I searched for a keyword colors, and I came down here and I just selected one of these images. So I'm just gonna open this image in a new tab. I'm gonna right click, select view image, and I'm gonna take the URL and come back here, paste it in the source. So if I save it, I should be able to see the slider, the background image here. So this is how you can add images, but my suggestion to you is not to use online sources, because if you are sure that this image will remain there for the time that you need it to be there, you can use online source. But my suggestion to you is that if you want to use an image like this, download it on your hard drive, then upload it on your own server and use it there. Because if, for example, unsplash.com remove this image, my slider won't work, right? It will work, it won't show the background. So there are some general options about it, but we don't need to take care of it right now. So let's add some elements to what we have here, to our slides. So let's come with a title. Now here it will show you different font style, different sizes to select to create a title, and this is for subtitle. And under it, at the bottom of the screen, you see shadows. It has shadows. You can change it. You can come here and select each of them you want. Before I selected this one, I think it looks better. So now how do you change the text? You come on the last item, last tab here, and this is my title, right? So again, under it, it is all the options about your text exist here. You want it to bring it to the center or to right side. All of them exist here. You want to change the color or add a background to it, you can come here. Okay, let's say you want to put this in a box, right? Let's try that as well. Here we have shape. So this is the shape that I just added. Now I have to resize it. Okay. So I mentioned this before, how you can fix it. Right now my shape is above my text. That is why I see it, I see the shape first. If I come select the shape and put it down, now it will, my text will jump up, right? So these are the things that you can do here. And again, pay attention to your layers here. Let's add a subtitle as well. Let's add, for example, let me move it so we can see what is happening here. Let's add something like this. And also I'm gonna just copy paste the text, come back to content, paste it here. I'm gonna resize the box so it forms itself in the right way. Now what I can suggest you here, try to when you want to add elements to your slider or when you are creating a web page, try to match them together. For example, the box starts with the subtitle here, right? If you don't have the box here, it's better that both of them start at the same place, okay? So pay attention to these small elements. For example, when I created the box, the distance from the title to the top part to the box, to the right side, to the bottom, I just calculated with my eye, but pay attention to these things to be, for example, from all sides, it should be equal to look better, right, from design perspective. Now let's add a button. So we come here, select button. This is the layer here. Again, it's gonna start from here. And these are the different type of buttons that you can use. Before I think I use this one, you just select it and it will work. Right, again at the bottom of the screen we have shadows, if you want to use shadows, for example, and different type of buttons and so on. Now again, here we are in the content. If you want to change, for example, click here, you see it is written click here. I'm gonna change it, for example, to join us now, okay, for example. And again, we have the style here, we have the background color. Now it is transparent. I don't want it to be transparent, I want it to be red completely. I'm gonna put it on red. I'm just gonna copy the code, so later I'm gonna use it. The text is white, it looks good. Now, when I hover my mouse on it, it will change. So again, the setting is here on the last item, hover, right? So when I select hover, it will show me the way it looks when I hover my mouse on it. The time for the animation. And if we come down, this is the text color and this is the background color. So now the text color, I don't want it to be black. I want it to be red, okay? And for now it looks good. So why I selected red? The reason is because when I hover my mouse, it switch. We think that it switched the color from background to the text. It looks nicer. Anyway, it exists here. Now let's add some image. For example, our product, the image that I already found online. So I'm gonna come to image. This is the image here. You can come to media library or double click on it. It's all the same. So I'm gonna use this one, for example. And I'm gonna resize it a little and put it right here. Okay. So let's save it and take a look at it. The slider, until it loads, I'm gonna check the questions to see if we have any questions here. Okay. All right. So this is right now how our slider look. Okay. It looks nice. Everything is clear. Everything is readable, clean. The button is here. So now let's add some animations to these elements, right? So, well, the title is okay. Let's say I want to add an animation to our button. I'm gonna select it. This is our button. And again, on the last tab here, you see the animation, okay? You see it? Right. So here we have in and out. The out part is when it is going to end, and the in part when we start to see the element, all right? So I'm gonna click here, anim from, and here I'm gonna click on in, and this is the part that you have to select different animations, okay? You see there are a lot of samples here. For example, I think this one was the one that I used. Now pay attention to the animations, to the movements that you select. It should have a meaning, right? For example, when I select it, when it's showing movement to this direction, to the right side of the screen, it will direct my eye as an audience to the product which is on the right side. Okay, so pay attention to these elements as well. Don't just come here and select an random animation that you think it will look nice, or we generally try to your work as a not as a designer, but what you try to create here, it should direct the audience eyes to what you want them to see. So I'm gonna select this one because it has a movement toward my product. Just a second, okay. So, and right now here we have a play. Okay, if I play, the moment that our slide is loaded, it starts to load the animation. Now, if I select this and move it, for example, put it here after 1 second, you see at the top we have seconds. If I play it again, it will load the button after 1 second. Now, animations are very important because they have movements. It will grab the attention. So don't waste this on grabbing attention of your audience to useless stuff, okay? The important things. This is the button, for example, this is our product. This can be good as well. So let's say, for example, pop-up, not like this. Maybe these are rotations, no. Not custom. Okay, this is not bad. It's coming from buttons. Looks good. And well, I want first to have my button loaded, then my product. So I'm gonna put my product to load after 1 second and this one after half a second, right? So let's play. Okay. You see, everything looks fine. Let's save it and jump into our page, refresh. You see, it looks nice. It will grab the attention. The animation is perfect because it separates the background and the other elements that are not that important with the important ones. This is the call to action button. It's important. This is the product. It is important. Let me refresh it again to see the animation. You see, it looks good. So, there are some other stuff here we can talk about. For example, the third element here is the size and position. If you want to change the size and position of an element, it exists here. How do you want to look at this product, this image or element if you activate parallax? I'm gonna talk about parallax for the background, for example. We have actions. So here we have the button, right? And when we want to click on it, we want to go to a page, right? You have to come here to actions. And for example, these are all the actions that exist here. Start the media, callback, and so on. This is the simple link. You select simple link. And here, where is it? Okay, on the simple link, by clicking on it, here you have to add your URL. For example, pouya.com, right? That's all. It's added. Let's save it. And again, if later I want to change it, I have to select my button, come to action. You see it's here. Simple link is here. So if I refresh the page, if I hover my mouse on it, you see under at the bottom of the screen on the left side, it is showing me the URL that it will open. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the button. It should jump into the home page. Okay, it went to, let me fix this. This is the problem in the URL. This is the link, simple link, same window. Okay, let me remove this and add this simple link again. Let's use this address here. Keep it as it is, the same window or new window. Tag link, follow. This is no follow or follow link will have effects on SEO. So when it is on follow, it will have an effect, it will have influence on SEO. If it is on no follow, it won't have any effect on SEO. So pay attention to this one if you are trying to improve your SEO. Simple link, everything looks fine, I think. Let's save it again. It is saved, not yet. All right, so right now it's working. You see at the bottom of the screen it is https://pouya.com. So if I click on it, it will open my home page in a new tab, right? So it is working, everything is clear. Now let's talk about the navigation, okay? Okay, before we go for the navigation, let's talk about the background and parallax. So here, on the third one, we have slide options. We have thumbnail, animation, filters. For example, on filters, you can change. It's like Instagram filters that you use on your photos. See, there are different filters here. Progress. links. For example, here we can add a movement, right? We can add a movement to our background. So by default, because I edited before, it has a number. So by default, when you come here, when you turn it on, the numbers look like this. Sorry, just a second. My throat is dry. Okay, so we want to make a movement. We want to make it, for example, going up. I'm gonna add 50 pixel, and if I play, it will go up, but it's a little bit slow. And right now, the way it looks here, it will look much better on the page itself. So I'm gonna put 100 to make it more understandable. I'm gonna save it, and saved, yeah, refreshed. So this way you can add some movement to your background image as well. Again, don't make it so much. For example, right now on 100 it is too much. It is grabbing attention. It shouldn't be like this. I think 50 is enough. I put it on 100 so you see how it will look. Saved, refresh. Okay, it's much better. It's not grabbing the attention. Now, how you can add parallax to your background? If you come here on the scroll, on default it is on no parallax, and if you come down, you can select, for example, 50%, and these are the different options that you can select. Let's put it as it is with fade and blur. Save it and come back here. Now if I scroll, it will have more effects on, more influence on the background. You see, it is moving with my scrolling. Okay, not only it's going up, but when I'm going up and down, it has different look comparing to the other elements. Again, I'm not suggesting parallax because it grabs attention and you don't need it for useless stuff. So let's start our second slider. So I'm gonna just duplicate this one. Here we have a slide. Now this is slide number 2. Now I'm going to, for example, make some changes. Okay, I'm gonna change the image. I'm gonna select this one, for example. I'm gonna move everything to the other side. Okay, this one as well. The button as well. And let's resize this. Okay, and let's also change the background image. For example, here we have what we can use that looks nice. Maybe this one doesn't look that bad. View the image. You have to test it, okay? Let's come to the third one, the background, and replace the link. Okay, it doesn't look so good because there are a lot of elements in the background, so let's go with something cleaner, okay? Maybe let's go up. Let's use, for example, this one. It has bubbles, which is good for shampoos and this kind of stuff. Actually, this was one. It is the one that I used it in the example that I showed you. So if I save it, right now, let's refresh the page. Now we don't have progress bar. We don't have arrows to control this slider. So all we have to do is just to wait until it's done, and it will jump into the next slide. So let's wait a couple of seconds, and here it is, right? So let's come back here to the navigation, the second one on arrows. It is off right now. Now it is on. So if you want to change the look of it, it's here. Don't beat yourself too hard to select something complicated and different. For example, one of the, like, let's select, for example, the second, right? No, I don't like it. The first one is okay. Anyway, this is for the arrows. For example, here you can have at the bottom you can have bullets, again with different looks. For example, like this. I'm just gonna turn them on so you see how it will look on the home page. These are the tabs. If you have different tabs, I don't suggest that. Thumbnail, again, and we don't need this one. This is touch. Okay, so on mobile, when you want to swipe to right or left, if you enable this, it will work there. On desktop, for example, I'm going to show it to you in a moment. On keyboard with arrows, you can go right and left. On mouse, and you don't need to take care of this part. Is for the coding. So also here we have progress bar. Let me remove these bullets, I don't like them. Save. And refresh here. So you see here we have progress bar, we have the arrows here. And when I click on the slider and move my mouse to the left and right, it will open the next, it will load the next one. You see, the reason is because here on the touch we turned on desktop swipe enable. Okay, if I turn it off and save, it won't work. Anyway, the setting exists here. Now, one thing I want to tell you, if you come here to the slide option, here we also have another animation. Now this one is for loading each slider. Right now it is fade, right? So if I want to change it, I have to click on this gear button, and here there are different ways to load this slide. Okay. Right, let's select, for example, this one and save and see how it will look in our page. Refresh. You see, the next one is gonna fade, this one is gonna remove it, right? So more or less that was all about the slider revolution. As you can see, it's very easy to use it. They changed the look. It became a little bit difficult at the beginning, but if you just spend some time playing with it, practice, do this, create the same thing that we just created today in this live session, before you know it, in less than 1 or 2 hours, you will get master at a slider revolution. It's very easy. At the beginning, it was a little bit difficult for me as well, but now it's much better. So if you have any question regarding the topic that we just had, or any other question connected to marketing, you can ask it for me, and we're gonna talk about it here. If not, let's end this session with let me just come back here. Let's end this session right here. So today we had, okay, how long we're on? Okay, it's about 50 minutes. So that was all for today's session. On the next week, we are going to talk about, what was it? The book, Building Your Brand Story. It's gonna be, it's a powerful and amazing book for marketing. And I will answer your question in writing, and I will see you in the next session next week.